Welcome to Picklehead Podcast. Super excited to have you Pickleheads here. Today we're going to be giving you guys 3 specific tips that will help you to be able to apply more pressure on your opponents. So stay tuned.
Love it, man. Hey, let's jump right into this then. So the first one, let's talk about, we talk about a lot, and a lot of people talk about the shake and bake. Real quickly, I'm going to explain what the shake and bake is, or what most people understand it to be. That's when I will either tell my opponent beforehand, tell my partner beforehand or not, I'm going to drive, and then I'm going to drive the third shot, and my partner is looking for an opportunity to go up and poach that ball off of the drive. But lots of times we don't think about a drop shake and bake. So let's talk about that a little bit. It requires a good third shot drop, and in particular, typically more of a topspin third shot drop. Like if I'm playing with you, Oz, I know that I try to give you most of the thirds because I know your thirds are dialed in. And then that way I have the opportunity to get to the line as fast as I can and look for where that ball is going to be. Yeah. But I know that it gives you the opportunity to do so also, because you can tell even better than I can with that solo shake and bake if your drop is good or not. But this is so underrated. We talk so much about driving for a shake and bake, but let's talk about dropping for a shake and bake. First of all, Oz, what's your strategy, or what do you do to train, or what do you do to make it so that your third shot drop is good, is solid enough for a shake and bake?
Yeah, so something I do is I try to drill more than I play, but I end up playing more than I drill anyway, just because that's how it goes. Because whenever people will invite you out to play all the time, but not everybody will invite you out to drill. But I try to drill at least a few times a week. And a lot of the times that doesn't happen just because life gets in the way, but that's the goal. And then with my app, my Pickleball Playbook app, it's essentially a drilling app, as you know. And it gives people drills and specific training and technique so that they're doing the drills in the right way. And it's essentially everything that I have done to take my game. When I started, I was 4-0-ish. Like I played in a 4-0 tournament right when I first started, and I lost. And I lost bad.
Same.
And I came from a tennis background. I never played college tennis, but I was asked to be on a Division I team without a sponsorship. So it's like I was good at tennis, but I wasn't anything super special, you know what I mean? I wasn't special enough for sponsorship, and I ended up turning it down because I wanted to prioritize making money in college, and that's pretty much what I did. Started a window cleaning business to make money, and now I still do windows. Graduated from college, and I do the exact thing that I did while I was in college, so it's kind of a funny thing, but anyways, sidetrack. But so I came in with I'm a good tennis player, 5-0 range tennis player. And then I came into pickleball thinking I'll go play 4-0 just to start, and I'll go destroy these guys, and I lost. But within a year of actual drilling, so that was right when I started. I didn't start drilling until a year after that. Never did I drill. Never had I heard about it. Year after that, I drilled, won a 4-5 tournament, like a few weeks after I had started drilling. And then now I'm a 5-5 plus, pushing 6-0 range or around there, from just drilling and following that routine. So I came out with an app to help everybody with it. So it's been helpful. So that being said, yeah, I drill it a ton. I'm not just in rec play thinking I'll practice this drop shot. That's not how it works. You have to hit literally 10,000 of them to be able to hone in that aggressive drop shot. And specifically what you're talking about, where it's a drop shake and bake, that drop has to be a more aggressive drop. So it's low, it's dipping. It's more so a drip which we've talked about before. So Spencer, explain what a drip is to those that are listening.
Yeah, so we've called it a drip. I know there's others that have called it a drip or they've called it something different, but all it is a mix between a drive and a drop. So you're taking back some power from your drive, but then you're giving more top spin, kind of meshing a drive and a drop together. And the best word that we could come up with that meshes those two together is a drip. So if I'm the opponent and you're hitting a drip, or in other words, a fast and also top spinny drop, it's difficult for me not to pop that ball up. Like, it can be really hard. My typical go-to in that situation is just to try to go cross court in the kitchen, but it's coming fast and it's coming with a lot of top spin. And typically, a lot of people will pop that ball up. That's why it gives a good opportunity for a drop shake and bake instead of a drive shake and bake.
Perfect explanation. And it's a difficult shot to hit until you hit a ton of them, and then it's just like it's not as difficult. You just can get out there and do it when you're in a rec game. So tip number 1 for you guys would be to drill. Hit as many as possible to where you feel comfortable, and hit against as many people as possible, because different people have different paces, spins that they put on the ball. It's a different ball that you're receiving from different people. Some people really cut under the ball with a ton of slice on their return, and so that third is going to be completely different from someone that's hitting topspin on their return.
Oh, absolutely. You got to play with different people, and when you're drilling, make that drilling competitive. Like I've drilled with people before where they're, trying to make it easy on me, or vice versa. I'm trying to make it easy on them so that they can get as many as possible. Instead of, you're much better off playing your best against them and their best against you so that each 100%. Of you can get better. The other problem with that is there are some people that won't want to drill with you because they're afraid to lose. And so you make drilling competitive, and then they don't want to drill anymore, which is the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
If you want to get better, lose. I've lost so many times. I've definitely lost more than I've won, and that's the only thing really that's kind of helped me. That's helped me get better. But as far as, like you said, going back to it, got kind of sidetracked there. But as far as receiving different balls, sometimes it takes different people, or it takes a ball machine, or it takes telling them, hey, hit those harder at me. I know I've popped a few of those up. Hit those harder at me so that I can practice hitting a consistent topspin drop over and over, whether it's backhand or forehand.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced that with people that you've drilled with and then they don't want to drill anymore, but it's like, what? Why? Let's just get better point. Together. Who cares?
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I've experienced that specifically, but I have, like with playing against players and then they don't hit the ball to you anymore type of thing because they don't want to lose. So kind of along those lines. But what you reminded me of was when I'm warming up before a match or even a rec game, if I will take that warm up seriously, meaning that I'm actually hitting the ball hard, just like how I would in the game, I play so much better. And it's super simple principle, but a lot of the time when we're warming up, we feel like the opponent that we're warming up with, or if it's our partner and we're playing in a match and we're warming up with them, that we need to hit the ball soft so that they can warm up. But really, it's only those first, like, only dinking that you should be hitting soft, and then after that, you guys should be ripping the ball at each other hard with a strategic placement as well. So you're not going 100%, but you're going like 70-ish%, which is what I preach all the time. 70% going for placement over power. But you're doing what you would do in that actual game. Don't think to yourself, I want them to warm up, or like, I want them to be able to hit these balls back so that they can get a good warm up. All that they want is accurate shots coming at them for what they will actually see in the match. And if you do that, you're going to play so much better in the actual match. So that's what I've realized, I mean, as of lately, I have been implementing that because I've always thought to myself, like, oh, I sure hope that the person on the other side of the net, or I don't think that. I just think I'll hit a little bit softer so that they can warm up their game. But it's just like the first couple of minutes when you're dinking, hit soft. After that, rip the ball at them, and you'll have a really good warm up.
Yeah. Yeah. Practice how you play. I don't know if that's the phrase or not.
That is the phrase.
But you hear that.
That's perfect.
But it makes so much, and that's tip number 2. There might be a bonus tip later on, but definitely practice how you play. And that practice, we refer to it in the pickleball world as drilling. I didn't have much of a tennis background. I don't know if in tennis you called it drilling or if you called it practice.
I never drilled once in tennis, so I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that are, but when we say drilling, obviously we're referring to practicing with someone or with multiple people. Even if you do have enough people for rec play, it can be tough, but try to force yourself. I know not everyone has a lot of time. You can get so much better from drilling. Yes, rec play is necessary, but just call someone up and say, hey, and then check out Austin's app, which is, again, Pickleball Playbook. It's a free app. Go download it for free, and you can see all the different drills that he has on there. And during your drill sessions, you don't have to think about, oh, I wonder what we should drill today. It'll be right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to then. So we're bringing our drive.
We'll link that in the description. We're going to put some links in the descriptions. Spencer does all the links, but it'll be, I don't even know if you can link on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'll link it. Yeah, it'll be on there. So all you got to do is click on it. Again, it's free. Why not download it? And then you don't have to think about what you're going to drill about. You can just pull it up on there. It'd be fantastic for your game. Then you can impress all your friends. So going back to, again, we'll call this the drop or the drip shake and bake. It's super underrated, not just at lower levels, at higher levels too. You'll see all the time in the pro game, if somebody has their third shot drop really dialed in where it's almost a drip, and some of the females, the pro females have that too. Because it's less speed, but it's more topspin, and that thing comes real drippy just over the net. Your partner can expect a pop-up for you to put that away. So pressure, that's an excellent way to apply pressure, is by hitting that drip, and the best way to learn it is by drilling over and over. What else as far as applying pressure? How else can we apply pressure to our opponents in that situation?
So let's go over what the drip is setting you up for and the timing of everything to be able to help you guys specifically break that down. So the drip happens on the third shot. Sometimes it happens on the fifth shot, right? Sometimes even on the seventh shot. And what I mean by that is, if they return the ball and you hit a drive your first shot, it usually sets you up for a better opportunity to hit a drop if they have a good return, because they are blocking your drive, and then you're coming in and you're dropping that ball, trying to land it in the kitchen, or dripping that ball if you've drilled it a ton of times, trying to get that ball to land in the kitchen. That is then putting them in a defensive position because the ball is so low. It's near their feet. They're transitioning forward, especially when you hit it on your third shot. They're transitioning forward. So it's at their feet. It's low. It has topspin. They then have to control that ball to try to keep it in the kitchen, because your partner, after you've hit this drop or drip, is at the kitchen applying that pressure. And then they can poach, which means they run to the other side of the court where this person who is hitting your drip is going to try to hit it back to you because you're deep. So then you move across to your partner's side of the court, and you're going to take that ball out of the air, which is essentially a poach. That's what a poach is. And so you're applying that pressure. So the timing of the poach, so that you don't go too early and they end up burning you down the line or in any position, is you want to start poaching as soon as you see their motion moving forward. So as they're hitting forward into that drip, that's when, not when they make contact, but as they start their motion forward, you start moving to the side to poach that ball. Then you'll make it there in time with them not knowing that you're poaching. And just the other day, it's something that needs to be practiced all the time, because just the other day I poached and I thought I had this ball. I was like, no matter what, I'm poaching. And I poached so painfully early. Like, it was awkward. I'll have to post the video because I have the footage. I didn't want it to see the light of day, but it's like the timing was so off. So I must have started going before they even started their motion. I'll have to go rewatch the video to see. But I didn't follow my own advice that I'm giving you guys now. So, you live and you learn. But even now, I'm still making those poaching mistakes. So a good rule of thumb is as they start their motion, that's when you send it. What would you say would you say that's the timing for the poach for you as well, Spencer?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you're a better poacher than I am. I've left too early so many times. I think a lot of times on the poach, I've underestimated my opponent, and I've thought, like you said, I'm going no matter what, and these guys aren't going to be able to redirect it. And then I go too early, and that's before they even make their motion, and so they see me going, and so they can just go behind me, like you said. So the purpose of, like you said, that in between, you don't want to go before they start making the motion. You also don't want to go as they're making contact with the ball, because like you said, as they're making contact with the ball, you're probably too late because they've already made contact. You might not get there in time. If you go before they start making that motion, then they can decide, okay, they're going, I'm going the opposite direction. And it hurts so bad to get beat.
Yeah, it does.
As good as it feels to poach and put that ball away, it feels just as bad to get beat and watch that ball go behind you.
That's true.
So, let's talk about one thing. I want to see what your opinion is on this. So, if we are serving in pickleball, we are the only ones that have the opportunity to score because we're serving. Unless it's rally scoring. But we're just talking standard pickleball when we're serving. I take more risks when we're serving because I know that we're not going to technically lose a point, right? So usually, I don't know why I do it this way, but usually it's when we're serving that I will be more aggressive and go for more things, go for a poach, for example. But I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to go. You should probably be doing it on both ends, but I'm curious if you're more aggressive when you're serving, or if you've even thought about that, or if you're more aggressive when you're receiving. Do you go for more when you're serving or when you're receiving, or do you think it's 50-50?
It's definitely something that I've thought about. I would say I'm a lot more casual in rec play when I'm serving, and I'll practice certain things like a two-handed backhand dink, which I haven't refined yet. I need to hit 10,000 of those, So in rec play, I would say I'm more casual when I'm serving because, it's not as big of a detriment because I'm not losing a point. But in a match, I would say all around I'm pretty aggressive as a player in general, so I'll be probably 50-50 in a match. I lean more towards the aggressive side, though.
I think from all the pickleball that I've watched, especially the pro pickleball that I've watched, I think more successful players are 50-50. Or in other words, they play their game and go for their shots the entire time, whether they're serving or receiving. From watching, that's the best way to go. But hindsight is always 20/20. When I'm actually playing, for some reason I get more, like, I feel confident when we're receiving because I know that we're the first ones at the net, but I don't go for my shots as much because I think in the back of my head, I know if they miss, I know if I miss, then it's a point for them. Whereas when I'm serving, if I miss, at least we're staying at the same score, right? But I think, and I'm sure you know this as well and think the same thing, if you're wanting to play the best, most consistent pickleball, you should be playing with the same amount of risk on either end. I'm not saying play high risk when you're serving and high risk when you're receiving, but definitely the same consistent amount, or in other words, playing your game whether you're serving or receiving.
Yeah, which I think is a good tip for applying pressure too, is when you're feeling pressure, you need to remember that you need to play to win, which means that you're staying loose. So looser you stay, more pressure you're applying to your opponents. When they see that you are literally loose in between points, almost like you don't care, they start thinking about it. And the reason that I know that is because I've started thinking about it when I see that my opponents are loose. And I'm like, do they even care right now? Like, I'm not sure. And then you see the next point, they win it, right, with an amazing shot, and they tried hard the entire point, and then they're relaxed afterwards, and you're like, oh, yeah, they really care. And then it kind of just gets in your head, and then you're like, well, why are they so relaxed, you know? So I think being relaxed in between points especially, and then just during the points, playing your game like you were saying, I think is essential. So you're not just randomly pushing the ball. And to use an example, I don't know if you know this, but Hattie and Clay. So Clay's our other brother. He's in between me and Spencer. Me and Spencer are brothers, by the way, if this is your first time listening. But Hattie's my wife, and they are playing in a league together, and it's a tennis league. But it's their first time competing, like Clay's first time competing in anything since high school, and he's almost 30 now, around that range. And so he's fresh out of practice of like the mental tactics to apply pressure. And Hattie played collegiate tennis. She's the one that actually did play D1 tennis. She got a scholarship and everything, so she's really good. And they were playing in this league together, and Hattie just has this innate ability to play well under pressure, and you can trust her to be able to just rip the ball, play her game, stay relaxed no matter what.
Yeah.
Whereas Clay is fresh out of practice of the mental game. So he gets in there and they get up 4-0 in games, which is a really, like, 4-0 in pickleball isn't much, but 4-0 in games in tennis is a lot of points.
Yeah.
So they get up 4.
That means you broke them twice.
Yeah. Did you? So you heard about it. Okay.
No.
Oh, okay. What did you say?
I said that means they broke them twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, for anyone not familiar with tennis, anyway, it's 4-0 is 4-0 up in games in tennis is a lot bigger deal than thinking about 4-0 in pickleball. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyways, they have this super big lead. And then all of a sudden Clay gets super tight, like noticeably tight, and starts pushing, which is exactly what I see happen with so many pickleball players, especially ones that are first starting out, maybe playing in their first tournaments. They just get so tight, and it never ends up in their favor. And they lost 6-4. So it's like those guys reeled off 6 straight games. Clay never got over that tightness that entire time. And he talked to me afterwards and was like, I got real tight back there. And the other team won by literally just keeping the ball in, because they knew that mistakes would happen over there because there was pushing going on. So they just kept the ball in, kept the ball in, kept the ball in.
Yeah.
So it's easier said than done. And really it comes down to just playing in enough tournaments to where you can, stay relaxed. Even though maybe in your mind you're going a little crazy, like crap, like these guys could come back at any time. Keeping your outward body relaxed and acting like you don't give a crap, right? And you're just going to play your game no matter what, will ultimately help you to win the match. And I'm not saying that you're going to win the very first tournament that you play or even the second tournament that you play, but you're going to win if you do that consistently, have the experience consistently, and just play to win. So that's essentially what playing to win is. That's going to be able to apply the most, I think, most pressure on your opponents. Because like I said, I've thought about it so many times when my opponents are just so relaxed on the other side of the net.
Yeah, that's an excellent example. I think the main thing that we can learn from that is you should always play pickleball and never play tennis.
essentially that's the fourth bonus tip. Don't play tennis.
I'm just kidding. If you want to play tennis, I mean, that's okay. You can't be friends with me, but you could probably be friends with someone, right?
I don't know what it is, but
I got a lot of friends that play tennis, but obviously pickleball first. But like you said, whether you're returning or serving, whether you're down a lot of points or up a lot of points, you should be going for your shots and playing your game. The most success that I've seen on the pro scene or any tournament that I've gone and watched or played in, the most success that I've seen happens when somebody continues to play their game, and it comes, like you said, with time.
Yeah.
Time is huge, and specifically time on court. So, one last thing for pressure, Os. I know there's tons of things we can talk about, but to keep this a little bit more concise, let's talk about just one more thing with pressure. I've noticed, I've mentioned this before on the pod, if I'm playing someone like you and say we're playing mixed and you're consistently driving it at me or driving it at my partner, that is your game, and we feel the pressure. It's a lot of pressure. Or if you're coming with heavy drip type drops, heavy topspin drops, we're feeling that pressure. And we would like nothing more than for you to stop applying that pressure.
Right.
And stop playing your game, right? So that's what your opponent is hoping for. They're hoping that pressure stops. But if you're applying this pressure consistently, you've put in the time, you've drilled, you're playing your game. Now, don't stop applying that pressure. Don't stop playing your game.
Yeah.
That's all your opponent wants. Don't give up on that and think, well, maybe I should switch it up. It's too predictable. No, it's working. You're applying pressure. Keep applying that pressure. Yeah.
Hardest thing for people to do is to just keep doing what they're doing because it's working. And by that, we don't mean that you're applying stupid pressure, which I think is something that we see a lot. But it doesn't mean that you're speeding up a low ball because that's applying pressure, right? Because it's
or hitting your drive at 110 miles per hour.
Hitting your drive as hard as you can doesn't make any sense at any point. I don't know if I've ever hit a drive as hard as I can and it went in. So
yeah.
I've said this many podcasts ago, but 70% I think is the way to go, right? I even said it earlier in this podcast now that I remember, but 70% on that drive, right? So you're playing still smart pickleball, but it doesn't mean that you're pushing. Doesn't mean that you're willing balls in, right? It means that you're just, hey, I want the ball to go here. I've drilled this 1,000 times, so it's going to go there.
Yeah. Regardless of the situation, play your game and you'll be in a much better spot. Let's just review a couple of these things that we talked about. First one we talked about was drilling. You might have to remind me what else we talked about because I didn't take notes. Anyone who's listening can obviously go and rewind, and we suggest you do that. But first one is drilling, drilling these things. And then in this podcast specifically, we're talking about the drip or a nice, consistent topspin drop that gives your partner the opportunity to poach. So a great way to apply that pressure is starting well before you get into rec play, well before you get into the tournament. It happens when you're drilling that shot over and over. That way, when it comes time to show everybody the business, you already have it down. Okay, and then the second point we talked about was, I'm drawing a blank.
Staying relaxed. So staying relaxed throughout the entire thing. Like after points, you're staying relaxed, staying in the zone. And that's going to apply pressure on your opponents because they see that you don't give a crap is what it looks like. But really, you're keeping your entire body relaxed enough to be able to execute on points. Because if you're stiff at all, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. And then some of the other points are obviously play your game, which we talked about, and continue to play your game throughout the entire match, regardless of what the situation is. And, you know, whether you're down or up or whatever. And when you are applying pressure on your opponents and it's working, don't switch it up.
Yeah.
Continue to apply pressure, not stupid pressure, but continue to apply pressure, whatever that means, whatever it is that's working for you. Don't let off the gas because that's all your opponents want.
Don't be tight and don't be stupid, and you'll be good. And then getting that experience in. So just the more matches you play, the more shots that you hit, the better you'll be.
Yeah. I love it. Anything else?
I think that's good. Appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see you on the next one.
Later, pickleheads.